Tulsa, well, overtime wins are exhilarating and losses are deflating. I don't know if I've lost an overtime game. I'd have to really go back and check. But they are very final when you win or if you don't. They're certainly sudden death, and those are one of the great aspects of college football. I think the format with which we do it, I like it, and it's certainly intense. I was really proud of our guys in the game, how hard they played, fought, the grit, toughness they showed. I think David Mayo is a great example of that. He played over 100 snaps in the game, counting kicking game, and he had 25 tackles. They stayed between the sidelines. He had a chance to get them Saturday night. He really played well, and congratulations for him in being the Sun Belt Player of the Week. That was nice to see. We kept fighting and made a play or two more than they did. Actually, probably, I guess, one, and that's what we talked about all week, is finding a way to make a few more plays than the opponent. We hadn't done that against Navy and Illinois, so there was a lot of discussion from our part about it. Those kind of hard-fought, tough games are probably the way it's going to be for us. We're going to have to fight and scratch and claw for about everything we get, and I don't think that'll change a whole bunch as the year goes on. But at least we've done it and know how to do it, and that was really great to see. We move on to Idaho, homecoming, first conference game, Sun Belt play starts. As long as I've been in coaching, it seems like conference play always seems to raise the intensity just a little bit, no matter what it's been like. It always seems to take on a little bit more. Idaho is a much improved team, I think. Their front four is pretty good on defense. Their quarterback is throwing for a ton of yards. I think he's like fourth in the nation in pass offense. They're explosive. They move the ball around with all their different receivers. Paul is a good offensive mind, always has been. Paul Petrino, their head coach, and as is his brother. They're all of them are good offensive coaches and do a fantastic job. And we had a tough time with them last year. We were going for our sixth win, so we played really hard. I'm not sure we played really well, but we played really hard, and we did find a way to win up there. And so I know this will be a lot like last week, is the way we have to anticipate this game.
How did the dynamics of the running game change with Rob Lowe and people like that?
We called the game the same way. We didn't change. Terrence is more than capable, I think, of doing some of the things that Rob does, and it was good that we had Tim Gay back even for limited duty last week to rest Terrence at times. And we're hoping that I think Rob's going to practice today, so we'll see how things go.
Offensively, you go 3 for 3 in the overtime period. What does that say about where the offense is right now?
Well, I was disappointed that we only scored 17 points in regulation. I thought Tulsa played really well. I thought we were a little ragged at times. We really squandered the first quarter. We had great field position and didn't get anything out of it, and that hurt. But then, in overtime, it was critical. We had to convert 2 fourth downs to do it, but there wasn't any choice. And to the guys' credit, they made the plays. Tyler played very well, and Brad Miller and Jafus Gaines, and we got it going in the overtime period and held them to a field goal and found a way to get a touchdown.
In the 3 overtime periods, Tyler Johnson 2 fourth downs, converted both first and 20 through a touchdown to Ben Nigel. What do those plays kind of say about the type of quarterback he is this year?
Well, he's much different than last year, and he's eventually, no matter what we do as coaches, players have to make plays, and Tyler's making a lot of plays right now, and Brad Miller made a lot of plays, and Ben Ija went from a holding penalty to a touchdown on the next play. So good next play focus on his part, and everything, because he put us behind the chains, but then he made the play to save us a little bit too. And our guys, I think, offensively have some confidence they can move the football, and they didn't get frustrated Saturday night, which is good. And I think it was our lowest play output. We only snapped it 80 times Saturday night. That's the lowest we've had, but still good. 16 snaps more a game than we were getting last year. So Tyler is, it's just fun watching his growth right now. He made a few mistakes Saturday night, but for the most part, he gave us a great opportunity to win a football game with his plot.
What about, how big was that win? I mean, can you put it in perspective? Is it, some are saying maybe biggest in school history. I don't know if we want to go that far, but how big was that against a solid program, yes, program like that, coming back in 3 overtimes?
Well, I remember, you go through a ton of emotions as a coach in overtime. Somebody said, "Gosh, Coach, you look really calm on the sideline." I said, "Yeah, I was paddling pretty hard under the water." I remember thinking at one time, if we win this game, it's going to be really exhilarating and a real boost for us. And if we lose this game, I'm going to have to scrape them up off the turf and take them home. And then I even thought, Coach Blankenship's in the same position I'm in here. One of us is going to have to do that. And fortunately, I didn't have to scrape them up off the turf and take them home. And it was a great win, and we got out of non-conference, played 2-2, and that's huge for us. And now we have to go do something with it. That's the key, is how we move ahead and what we continue to do, and can we draw some strength from it. You'd like to think when we get in those situations that, hey, we've been here, done that. And I think having those experiences to draw from are big when you get in those situations again.
I know you look at the film and plays and stuff. There were some mistakes made down the stretch that killed some of the drives a lot. I think who was it Lewis that had a
Penalty on the kick, yeah.
Yeah, no, hurt. And there was another, was it a procedure? I can't remember, some penalty that took you kind of out of.
Yeah, we went for it on 4th down, and our center didn't snap the ball, or we were going to go for it. We got a procedure and took us out of that then.
Yeah.
Well, there were.
Yeah, so you got to look at those things, and penalties again could have been critical. They didn't end up hurting you in the end because you won the game. But had you lost, you might have looked at those differently. What do you think about it? Penalties have kind of hurt you so far this year.
In the Navy game, they hurt us. I think we had 4 offensive penalties. David had an irresponsible penalty in the kicking game, and we'd like to not have the one on 4th down. But when you play hard as we try for perfection as a coach, when you play 80 and almost 100 snaps on defense, and then kicking game, you're going to have some of those things, I hate to say. I always say you're coaching or accepting it. I don't want to sound like we're doing either one, but the bottom line was eventually we made another play or two that they didn't make, and we found a way to win the game, and we overcame some of those things. And you're going to have to overcome adversity in hard-fought games. It's not going to all go your way, and we were able to do that. We'd like to minimize our penalties a little bit more, but our penalties have been a little untimely. But Chris Peterson gets a late hit on the quarterback in overtime, sacks him the next series, big sack. Ben Ija gets a hold, touchdown pass. So at least we're finding plays to overcome some of our mistakes, and that was pivotal, I think, in that game.
We talk about Brand's game. Brand Miller made some big catches. I think may have had a career high, at least in yardage.
Yeah, he did. It was Brad's best receiving game ever for us, and Brad, receiving-wise, is having a great year right now. He's making plays. He made a great play over on our sideline on a ball that he had to compete with really hard. The play that set up the winning touchdown was a great catch over his shoulder and a great throw.
Yeah.
The ball was put the only place it could be for us to be in that position, and Brad made the play. He missed a few blocks that we'd like to see him make, and he knows that. But you know, he's taking care of the football, and he's making the plays, and he's making the catches, and you know, from a reception standpoint, he's playing the best he's ever played for us. And you know, we're gaining more confidence in Tyler and throwing the ball more and more and more.
David Mayo, you touched on that. Guy seemed to be everywhere.
He was. I thought during the game he was having a fantastic game. But then when you watch the film on the way home on Sunday and see how many plays he made and how many tackles he made and the things that he did, boy, it gave you a great appreciation for just how well he really played. I knew he was playing well during the game. You know, but it was an exceptional game. He played very well.
Nice that you won it. It was on ESPN. Can you get any idea of the exposure you've had in the last 3 weeks or so in the Navy and being on ESPN? Got any sense of what kind of benefit that's going to give you?
Well, I had 38 text messages after the game. That's my only measuring stick because I come back and go in that room back here and work on the next one. And my phone blew up. That was for sure between text messages and emails. So a lot of people are getting to see us and complimenting us and have watched our team play and have said nice things about the effort and things like that. So we are getting great national exposure. 3 straight weeks on national television, and again this week on ESPN3, which is a little bit different, but still exposure. So that's been great.
What does Bradley Miller mean to the offense? I mean, you guys almost used him as a wide receiver in many ways. He led you in the team in catches last season.
Brad is a hybrid in our offense. We can play him in at tight end. We can play him out at wide receiver. You know, he's a fast tight end. He's a little bit slower wide receiver, but his height and range makes him a little faster in a way. And we can move him around and do a lot of things with him. So he gives us a kind of a versatility that not a lot of players. I don't know if we have another guy quite as versatile as Brad. Ryan Carden's probably close, but not completely in the same versatility area that Brad and with all the different things that he can do. So it gives us flexibility in our offense because he's hit vertical catches for us this year. He's the wheel route the other night. We've been able to do lots of different things with him.
It seemed like you involved the tight ends a lot more in the game. I know David Lewis had a couple more catches, 3 catches. Brad Miller, was that an effort, to involve those guys a little bit more in the passing game against Tulsa?
Not really. What we do is devise a game plan to move the football, and sometimes we say, okay, let's massage this around and see if we can put Brad in this position or put Brandon Smith or whoever it may be, Japhus. But for the most part, we're spreading the ball around and have confidence in all our guys. And so I don't think we have to. I think Brad was the benefactor this week. He had 8 catches, and next week it could be somebody else. Though I think Brad will always be an integral part of what we do. But I've had teams where we had one guy we had to get the ball to, but that's not really the nature of this one right now. I think we can design our game plan and have confidence that all our guys can make plays. Ben Ija made plays for us the other night, and Ben's having a good year doing that. Japhus has had his nights. So I think that's a good sign for us right now. You've got to defend all our guys.
Well, as much as you're spreading the ball around, you've got to love how little turnovers happen.
Boy, you ain't kidding. That's no doubt. We played 4 football games, and knock on wood here, we've turned it over 3 times. that's a real credit to all the offensive guys and the offensive coaches, but really to Tyler especially, because he gets a lot on his plate with all the reads in the running game that he handles and then in the throwing game. But our guys are ball aware. That's good. And, we've only gotten 5 takeaways and we've only turned it over 3 times. So it would put 2 or 3 in the wrong area for us, and we'd probably be 1 and 3 today. There was only 1 turnover in the whole game Saturday night, and that was on the last play of the first half. So you got to kind of count a 4th down stop, and then inside the 5 is a turnover in a way. But really, as far as a takeaway, there was really only 1, and that wasn't ours. So, like I said, 1 play makes a difference. Certainly, if they'd have caught that ball before half, it would have made a difference.
You've talked about how you have several receivers that you can trust. You have your tight ends, you have your receivers, Gaines, Ija, Bradley Miller, Ryan Carter. What is the rapport that Tyler Jones has with the receivers kind of help you and mean for the offense going forward?
Well, our offensive kids, they all know who the guy is. I mean, they all have a lot of confidence in Tyler, and he doesn't say a whole lot out there. We scored the winning touchdown. He turned around and walked over to the sideline. I'm showing more emotion than he is, but they know that he's cool hand Luke when it comes to that, and they know that he's serious and focused and makes plays, and they all have a lot of confidence in him, and they got his back. And this is the greatest leadership role we've had at that position since I've been here. Sean Rutherford was really good in a lot of ways, but I think right now with the spirit that our offense has around Tyler, it's taken us a long time to get to this point, and he's still very young. He probably played his 10th college football game Saturday night. So it's exciting to think about what's ahead with him.
Coach, not often talked about, but I host punter. Talked about field position a little bit. He's been getting the job done as well. I know Texas State has their punter moving pretty good as well. Is field position something you're worried about in this game? And even with the offense moving the ball like it is, do you worry about it a little bit less?
Well, I don't think you worry about it, but I do think you're aware that their punter is really good. Now, our punter's had some good nights too. He knocked a few dead inside the 20 the other night, I think 4 of them. But he had a couple punts that weren't really very good the other night too. But Will's generally one to take challenges, and this guy is one of the best punters in the nation. There's certainly no doubt about that. And one of the things that happened to us late in the game Saturday night is we got kind of pinned down, and we got the stop on the 1 yard line. We didn't get a first down, and so we had trouble reestablishing field position, and Will had a couple punts that kind of nosedived and didn't go very far. So that was a little problematic, and that was a little bit of the reason why Tulsa was able to get back in the game because of that. So it's always something you're aware of, but we got a good punt returner back there too. So we haven't really sprung one of those yet this year, and just haven't had the opportunity. Maybe we can get one where he outkicks his coverage a little bit and get Craig loose.
Would you like to see your guys develop a little bit more of a killer instinct when you get up there by 14 points, and not let teams back into it like what happened on Saturday and have to get to overtime?
I don't think this team lacks that, Joe. I think we just got to fight our tail off to win the game. I mean, it's not a situation where we could have raised our intensity level or played better or played harder. I just think right now we're at a place in our program where every play matters, and we got to fight our tails off. And where I don't know if we're good enough yet to say, hey, okay, let's drive the spike in and finish them. I just don't. I haven't seen that yet. Maybe we'll get there, but the bottom line was we found a way, and we graded almost 250 snaps, and we didn't have one LOE the other night. I mean, our guys played hard and fought hard, and from my standpoint, that John talked about games and things like that. I don't think we've ever had a game we fought as hard as we did the other night. I really don't. We, not for the whole 4 quarters and the 3 overtimes and the number of snaps. You know, I don't want to shoot down your question there, but I just don't think killer instinct is really a conversation point with us yet. As much as keep fighting like we did, and we'll put ourselves in position, and hopefully we'll get more W's than anything else.
Even though, you know, you look at the score, it's 38 to 30, or 37, 34, but the defense for the first half of that, or really for most of the game, played really well. What were you impressed with in that game, coming off of the prior week against Illinois?
Well, you know, we got a pretty good pass rush with 4 guys, which was good to see. You know, anytime you throw up a shutout in the first half, that's good. The goal line stand was fantastic, and we made them earn everything inside the 5-yard line. There were no gimmicks down there. You know, I think we got a little tired in the 3rd and 4th quarter with the 90-some snaps. That's one reason I thought about going for 2, or I was going to go for 2 in overtime, because I felt like we were wearing down on that side of the ball, and that we were on the road, and let's try to win this thing and get it over with. And fortunately, they stood up and held them to a field goal, so we got the touchdown. But you know, and again, had we have been able to reestablish field position, either with a punt or with a couple first downs, it would have helped our defense a good bit. But we kept putting them on the short field, and you know, you keep putting teams on short fields, they're going to get some points eventually, and that's what happened. So, but you know, the touchdown pass that tied the game, Mike Odiari was just about to hit him, and he gets it off. So we were close on a few of those kinds of things, but I think we gave up a few too many rushing yards, and I think a little bit of that was our fatigue. We got wore down playing that many snaps a little bit. I think they got wore down a little bit against us, but they had a few more. They had almost 20 more snaps than we did in the game.
How about was it the first overtime score you thought about going for 2?
Mm-hmm.
What changed your mind? Something happened, didn't it?
Yeah, they called timeout.
Okay.
And we had already broken the huddle, and I was afraid they saw my formation and had an idea what we were going to do. So then I decided I didn't want to do it. That's why I figured they may have called timeout, because we were coming out in a little bit of a, I guess you could say, unorthodox surprise thing that we work on, and then I was afraid they were going to be ready for it, so I decided we better kick.
Heading into conference play, there's a couple new teams in the conference. Georgia Southern undefeated, Lafayette 1-3 in non-conference. Do you see this as a conference that is essentially anyone's for the taking?
You know, it's certainly it's hard to get your hands around the conference for me right now. Lafayette being 1-3 is not what any of us thought. They played a couple tough games with Boise and Ole Miss, but I think we were all a little taken back by the Louisiana Tech game. Louisiana Tech may be a lot better than what we know. Georgia Southern is certainly playing really well right now, and you know, we don't play Appalachian State or Troy, so Georgia Southern didn't play Arkansas State or Lafayette. So I mean, I'm looking at some of these scenarios sometimes and saying, wow, you know, but that's the way it is in conferences today. You don't play everybody, so you got to be a little lucky on those kinds of things. Arkansas State looks pretty formidable still. I'm sure Lafayette's going to raise up. They're not going to roll over here. I know that, and you know that. And Monroe is playing really good on defense. I don't know. It looks like a league where there's a pretty fine line of difference now. You know, that's hard. That's a little hard for me to say, because, quite frankly, we weren't up to the top of the league last year. I mean, we just weren't there yet, and hopefully we're closer this year. I hope we are. But we just weren't at a Lafayette or an Arkansas State level yet last year. And so we're hoping that we're getting closer to all those things. And South Alabama had an impressive win at Idaho, and but yet they lost at home to Georgia Southern. So I don't know what to think of things right now. I think we're just going to have to play a couple 3 weeks here and get a better feel for who's what. And it's always difficult to gauge coming out of non-conference when we've all played our Power 5 games and some have gone better than others and things like that. So I don't know. I don't have my hands around it very good. I know that. I'll find out soon enough.